Welcome into the Bearcat Den, live here on Coleman's Live 95, and also on Coleman's Live 95.5's Facebook page. I'm Tommy Warhurst alongside Coleman head coach Trent Walker. We've got with us this afternoon Max Dial and Morgan Holly. Gentlemen, welcome into the Bearcat Den.
Thank y'all for having us.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We had our first home game of the season last week, Coach. Wasn't kind of the turnout we really wanted as far as getting a W, but at the same time, too, I think we had excellent effort on both sides of the ball from what I could see up top. Talk about last week's game.
Yeah, as a coach, you don't focus on those theoretical wins and things like that. I mean, you play to win the game. The score matters. But there were things we took away from the competition that I learned something about my team. I learned something about my coaches. I learned something about Coleman. I thought our attendance was excellent for an opening game against the 7A team. The stadium environment was great for the guys, and I thought they responded. And we played hard. There's a handful of plays, and that's true of every game. But in this case specifically, when you're playing a 7A team, 4 or 5 plays on both sides of the ball, and it's a much closer ball game late into that game. And we focused on this week. At the end of the day, it was more about what we didn't do than what Bob Jones did. And that's just the truth. We're always going to talk about our standard. Our standard is the highest mark of performance we have in our program, no matter who we play. But we told the truth on Monday. We had a good week of practice, and we're ready to continue to push forward.
Max, on defense last week, we stopped them on their first drive and forced them to punt. Talk about the talk about the effort you guys put forth there in that first drive.
I thought we came out and we had a good few drives going out, and they weren't expecting it at all. They weren't expecting for us to come out there and hit them in the mouth like we did, and I just wish we had kept doing it. I just wish we had kept doing it the way we were, and I think that we would have kept the points, lower than they were.
Offensively, Coach, after that defensive stand, we put together a 12-play drive, burned a lot of clock.
Yeah, you think about your first game as a team in the first season, and to go 3 and out, and then again a 12-play drive with an opportunity to score both a touchdown attempt and a field goal attempt. I mean that's what you draw up. I mean just the execution down the field, and we just got to come away with points there. We talk a lot about we're going to value if they don't score, they can't win. So Max is talking about we're not pleased with the overall effort because we let them score too many times. But at the same time, we got down the red zone a few times and came away with no points. And so we got to value point stopping and point making. And so that's been our focus this week. But the offense, again, had the flow, had the rhythm, which is hard to do early in the season. They're playing well together. Yeah. We just got to be more explosive at sometimes and break a few tackles, and also just go ahead and punch things in, either touchdowns or field goals.
We went through one quarter not at 0. We didn't let them score, but we were unable to get into the end zone as well. It was into the second quarter before we gave up any points to them. And then the guy sitting right across from me now catches a 43-yard pass from Colt Culver. Morgan, talk about that.
Well, I was in a tight end, and our H went down, and Coach Adams came up to me and was like, we're going to have to switch you to H. We just need a guy to get in there and go. And I knew what the play was. I had never ran it in practice, but I was like, I can do this, and I did it. And Colt hit me perfectly. I broke a tackle, couldn't get my feet back under me. Could have probably went a little bit longer, but it felt good to be out there and have a big play like that. There's going to be a lot of that this season. I believe in Colt and I believe in our team. I think there's going to be a lot of players. We have a lot of players on our team that are able to do what I did on that play. And so that's the great thing about what we've got right now is we've got a lot of key players that are able to make explosive plays.
Yeah. The execution was there, I thought, a lot last week, Coach. One thing we needed was a little bit more time for Colt back there in the pocket to be able to hit Morgan and some of the guys outside.
Yeah, that's you get the difference between 7A line and 7A and 6A can be oftentimes in the trenches. And this guy right here, Max, he took on doubles and triple teams at the nose guard position. There's big boys, and then also their defensive line was able to kind of get some pressure. And I thought the first game, we call them bullets, just from a sense of the first game adrenaline that Colt had. I thought there were times that the pocket was clean, but he felt the pressure of a Friday night varsity game, and so kind of a blend of both. He's got to get more composed in the back with his offensive line protection, but there are some times a guy flashes his face and that's going to cause him to move. So, but for again a sophomore, a guy who's a sophomore, and I joke, some of these guys that played Friday night can't even drive cars. So before we get all judgmental on all the things that we're not doing as coaches and in our community, it's like, hey, let's take a breath. This is fun because a lot of these guys have been doing this a while. Yeah. And so they can't even drive cars, and they're out there trying to put up their best effort against Bob Jones. So we're excited. Again, I think showing them the film helped us focus on, wow, we really could have done some things there. And it wasn't them; it was us. And not only 0-0 at half quarter, but possibly 0-0 at halftime. To give them a touchdown there for the half, those are backbreakers. You know, we've talked about it in preseason camp. They know I've talked about that mentality to finish a quarter, finish a half, finish a drive. We always talk about finish, and we didn't. You know, we gave up a touchdown there, a missed coverage, blown coverage, not communicating. So, again, a lot to build on. Nothing but excited. These two guys are here because of the way they played. Both of them are going to be captains for us tomorrow night, but also just the way they played Friday night. I mean, Max, again, took on his production was really impressive, and that motor he played with, and then Morgan made some huge catches for us and some spot. Even caught a ball that wasn't meant for him on a play. We had two receivers kind of running, and he did a great job snagging that ball down for us. I thought it was about to be an interception. Yeah. And he snagged it out of the air. So,
one of the guys that stood out for me last week, I'm going to call him a gnat, because he was giving up about 200 pounds at running back last week. Weston Keel. What kind of an effort and toughness does that young man have? He ran the ball hard last week against some big old guys. I mean, he doesn't look big from up there where at my point, but he may be bigger than I am, but at the same time, I know he's giving up 200 pounds to those defensive guys, but he carried the ball 17 times for 74 yards. It seems like he carried it 30 to me, it seemed like.
He's someone, when I got here, I kind of asked about I like to form my own opinions, but I did want to get some input from the staff, and he was a guy that, hey, look, he's athletic, but he kind of gets banged up, and he can't stay healthy, and kind of, man, I'd say late spring, we got in the weight room, we kind of established our culture in the weight room. Late spring, I really said, that guy's acting different, and then it carried into summer work, and then, you know, what he's done in pads has really shocked the whole staff. Not as a knock on him, just a tribute to him, honestly, what he's focused on himself doing and the mindset he wants to have. I mean, he's hit the hole on some things that I didn't think were there and found a crease for us, and that's so important for the offensive line because they're working their tail off to create those creases against big offensive line defensive line like Bob Jones has, sort of trust his low lineman and get what's there. And then a couple times he gets in the second level, and Morgan Hawley's making blocks on the perimeter and knocking guys in the sideline for him. The offense and the run game's about right where we wanted to be. Yeah. We just got to use that kind of now to set up some explosive passes. That's what we're working on is how can we get low to sleep on our run game? How can we slip some guys by them for some explosive passes, some play action, things like that. So that's been our focus this week.
Yeah. Max, talk about the effort in practice this week and things that you've taken away from film day and studying that from last week that we'll carry forward to this week.
I thought on Monday when we came in, the film was really great. We really needed to see how we played and what we did wrong and how we could grow from it. And I wasn't at practice on Tuesday due to the fact I had to go see Dr. Dillon about something. But I was back yesterday and I was ready to go. And I thought effort was great yesterday. I thought we were flying around to the football, all that stuff. And I thought we were having a good day, and we had a great day today too. That's a walkthrough day and stuff. So I thought we did great this week.
Morgan, one thing they talk about in sports is you either win or you learn. Tell me what we learned about our offense last week.
I think definitely the offense is capable of doing what people didn't think we were going to be able to do, and that's beat defenses that are better and they're just more skilled than us. There's going to be a lot of teams in the region that will play that are going to be more athletic, but we're going to be there because of how much we work hard, and it's just going to be there for us. And I think you're talking about Weston Keel. Man, that guy, he shows great grit every day, and just the way he runs the ball, it inspires me. And I know our offensive line, their block, and we share techniques every day, and they help me learn on my blocks, and I help them with how to move their feet on their blocks. And so I think the biggest thing for our offense as a whole is we're together, and I think that's what's going to put us together with a good record from offensive wise. Is we're going to do our job because we know how each other plays, and we're going to play together.
This week, we'll go to Mortimer, Jordan to take on the Blue Devils. We'll talk more about that game when we come back. That game also will be Coleman's Live 95's Game of the Week this week here on 95.5 FM. Dylan Deemert and his crew will have the call. I'll be on the sidelines with these guys tomorrow night as Coleman takes on Mortimer, Jordan. Back in the Bearcat Den in a moment here on Coleman's Live 95.
Excellent, gentlemen. Nothing like putting you on the spot whatever you don't know what's coming, but that's life a lot of times too.
Yeah.
Anything we didn't touch on there that you want to touch on?
No, he's kind of introduce this our first real game week and just kind of talk about how we set up the week. Like this is the first. Actually, very complimentary. There's been some things for me that weren't as sharp as I wanted to be. Learning my end season flows. Like you've been in camp mode. This is the first week where I know what this feels like for me. Yeah. But my team doesn't quite know what I expect. Like even some of me. So I think I just thought maybe talk about that. Yeah. I think we're very detailed in how we set up the week and very purposeful. So I thought I might talk about that. Job, man. It's not easy. Is it?
A little nervous, yeah.
It's not easy.
And has this been nervous? It's just us having a conversation, really.
He says that as a big metal thing in front of your face.
Yeah.
Hear each other kind of talking, but it's. Hope these guys got those chairs set up. I saw a lot of people tearing off.
Captain Grovey was running out the door, and I was like, dude, go sit up at the table. And he was like, I'm going back. I doubt he went back.
He still didn't do the rap. Okay.
Yeah, when we got done, Tyler was like, all right, every ninth grader has to get up here, and they have to rap for us. And so Binky gets up there.
Binky had a whole rap thing written on his notes. Like, he already had it planned out.
And then Tyler also rapped. It was awful.
It was awful. Binky's was actually pretty good, though.
Should have got J. Ray up there.
Oh, my gosh. That would have been horrible.
About 10 seconds, John.
Brother, so
Welcome back into the Bearcat Den here on Coleman's Live 95 and on Coleman's Live 95's Facebook page. Tommy Warhurst alongside head coach Trent Walker, Max Dial, and Morgan Holly. Coach, we're going into our first road game, but let's go back one real quick to last week too and just talk about game week preparation. You guys went through summer workouts, went through your fall camp, but this was really the first time of you being in head coach mode here at Coleman, going through game week preps, and the first time players wanting to know how you work through that. So talk a little bit about that.
That's right. I mean, every segment that the players have learned, we have a kind of a philosophy of every segment in what we do. And even last week, leading into Bob Jones, we were still taking feedback from the Jamboree and trying to fix ourselves before that Friday. And so it's kind of a different plan because we actually practiced Monday and Tuesday. We just had a different plan going into Friday. This week is kind of set up as a true game week in terms of how we do. We have a Tell the Truth Monday where it's really important we tell the truth to each other as a family, where we weren't good enough, where we were good enough, and all those things. And then we have what we call Blue Collar Tuesday, which is a 2-hour practice that it's really the foundational blocks of our game plan and a lot of good-on-good work, meaning our starters versus our starters to make sure our swords are sharp for Friday night. And then Wednesdays, Win the Game Wednesday, we do a lot of situational football. That's where we do our third down and our scoring zone and that type of stuff. And then Thursday we have what we call Play the Game script, which is Perfect Play Thursday. That's the goal, is to be, like he said, fresh and polished and fast and crisp. We work changing from defense to punt return, from offense to punt. Like we do all of our things to make sure we're ready to play the game as Friday night's really chaos on the sideline if you're not prepared for it. And so we work really hard. That kind of goes back to what you said about lack of penalties. I thought procedurally we were really good off the sideline Friday night because of the way we prepare. So we've done that whole thing. As a head coach, there's standards I want to meet that we're just – I know what I want. They're still trying to figure out what those look like, but we're getting better and better. And we'll hit our groove in our game week prep here in the next few weeks. We're already hitting it, but it'll fine-tune as we go. Yeah.
We hit the road tomorrow night to go down to Mortimer, Jordan to take on the Blue Devils. Back we'll be finally in 6A region, not region play for us, but we'll be playing another 6A opponent. They play in Region 5. Their head coach is Heath Lauderdale in his second year there at Mortimer, Jordan. Talk a little bit about the Blue Devils and what we expect to see.
Yeah, wasn't so sure just being out away from here for a while. I turned it on and I'm impressed. They got a big physical team. They got players that run and hit. It's there's no breathing room in this schedule. It's a very good football team at a place we traditionally haven't played well. So the challenge of going on the road, we're going to find out a lot more things about our team as we go. But they got a big offensive line, defensive line. They've got a quarterback that's very tall and can push the ball down the field, and they got a kick returner that we have to be very aware of where he is on punt return and kickoff return. But we're excited. I think the matchup is really good for us. I think it's going to be it's a nice night. October, it's going to feel like almost like a September night. The weather's going to be nice. It's going to be a great night for football, and so I'm excited to see our guys go on the road. We talk about taking the party on the road. We bring ourselves there and make sure everybody in the stadium knows we're there, and don't be intimidated by another person's field or their student section.
They lost 45-28 last week to Leeds, and to hear Coach Lauderdale talk about his team last week, their starting quarterback had been out with a cold or something and didn't play a lot. And by the time they got him back in the game, and they were trying to be vanilla, just run the ball early on. Before they knew it, they found themselves down 14-0.
Yes, against a good Leeds team. That's what I told our guys. You got to be careful with the film, right? When you're watching this film, you're looking at a team that went to the semifinals play Mortimer Jordan. So what we see them do, we have to be careful of assuming what we think, Mortimer Jordan will be on this night. I think the matchups of the two teams are going to be, a one-score type game, and we talk about that's when the difference in the intangibles come into play on the road is those one-score games. What are we going to do to force the edge to our side? As a field position matters and special teams and kicks and things like that. Catching the ball on punt, all those things are going to add up Friday night.
Max, they can be pretty shifty. They've got a good running back, got a couple of receivers who caught long touchdown passes last week, and a quarterback that we saw last year. Blaze Neely played quarterback for him last year. He's back again this season. Talk a little bit about our effort and what we're going to have to do defensively.
We're going to have to put in a lot of good effort to get that quarterback down. That's a lot to say. I mean, he's really good. We played him last year. He was super hard to get down. We should have had him sacked multiple times, and we couldn't get him down. I should have had him. Jack should have had him. Multiple guys of ours should have had him down. He's hard to get, and we're going to have to get him down. Yeah.
Defensively, Morgan, they did give up 45 points last week, and it seemed like to me, Coach, I'll get you to touch on this too, it seemed like a lot of the misdirection and pre-play shifts, say that 3 times in a row, caught the Mortimer Jordan defense off guard a little bit. Talk a little bit about our offensive scheme a little bit going into this week, Morgan.
So we're trying to keep. We added some shifts this week, pre-play, pre-snap. We're trying to we got me moving a lot. We've got our H moving a lot. But that's really just for us. I mean, just watching the film against them and everything. The biggest thing for us is we've got to be physical, especially that's the difference from last year's team and our team this year is we love to block on the perimeter. We like to get Weston wide zone. We like to block for him we like to get him lanes to go on the outside. And so that's going to be the biggest thing for tomorrow night is we've just got to block. And I think everything else, like from the game Friday, everybody's effort was good. There's just execution. And that was the biggest thing in practice this week is we've got to execute. Everything was there. And we've got to be better, and that's starting with me, myself. I could have been better. We all could have been better, and Colt knew that. Everybody knows that we're going to be better tomorrow night.
We have already begun to regain that reputation that we're going to play physical and we're going to hit you in the mouth. You talked about that back in February when you took the job. Coach Saban talked about that when he took the job at Alabama. That he wants people to know when they played Alabama, they played Alabama. And as an Auburn guy, that's hard for me to say. But that's already the reputation that we built after 1 week. Talk about the physicality that you want to bring in each game so that people do know that they played us.
Yeah, I thought we established on the first kickoff. They got South Florida commit, Reese Dorsey back there, and we said we're going to kick to him, we're going to run him down, and we're going to hit him. And I thought we did a good job kind of setting the tone with that kickoff. And when other teams see that on tape, when their kickoff return usually sees a bunch of black jerseys flying down, it's hard to think about Friday night want to go block those guys. And so I think we did that. I think our tape shows physicality on both sides of the ball. And I think that our guys, I thought we had tremendous sideline tackle discipline. We played hard, but our guys led up on the sideline. They didn't take that extra hit right in the white of the sideline boundary and get 15 yards. So that's exactly where you want to be. I just think that our guys have bought into that. That's how we're going to win games here, and I think we had a physical camp, and so they're used to that. Mm-hmm. It's kind of playing out early in these games. I think one thing we're talking about this game is that early games become copycat. Like, you only have one sample size of film, so we have to understand what we were bad at offensively and defensively. They're going to attack it because that's all they have is one tape. Yeah. So they're going to super hyper focus on the things, so we know the things that we didn't do well. They're going to really attack those things. So both sides of it. I said, if you don't think we're going to get about a 7-yard hitch and make our corners tackle in space on the perimeter, you're crazy. You know what I mean? That's how they had 2 explosive touchdowns with just missed tackles off a simple throw. They're going to do that and make you prove that you've got that part taken care of. And same with offense. They're going to make us again. They're going to say, okay, throw the ball to beat us. So we've done some things in the past game with different formation stuff to try to exploit some of that. They're going to turn their ears back and do the same thing. They're going to see what Bob Jones did and say, oh, we like that. You know what I mean? So that's what I told our guys all week. You're going to get a copycat version because there's only one tape. When you get 3 and 4 tapes, it's a little different. But one tape, they're going to really focus on those things.
Max, we hit the road tomorrow night. Give your plea to fans to make the short drive down to Kimberly and come out and support you guys tomorrow night.
Yeah, tell them how you want people to come watch you play tomorrow night.
I want people to come watch me play a lot. I want to give them a show. Yeah, I want to give them a show. I want to get that quarterback down on the ground. I'm going to give them a show.
Yep. Morgan, same to you. Tell us what you think is going to be big for the offense tomorrow night and what folks can see.
There's going to be a lot of big plays, I think. I think what we lacked in explosiveness last week is going to be different this week. We've really harped on it this week. We've been in the red zone this week. We've been practicing on it. Colt's been dialed in. The offensive line has been really working hard. And I think Coleman football is truly back. Coach Walker got here, and he told us, like, when my brother was in high school, Coleman football was hard-working. They were physical, and Coach Walker got here, and that's exactly what he said he was going to do, and he did that. I feel like everybody's physical. It doesn't matter what size they are, how strong they are. They're physical. They want to be there, and they want to work hard. And I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow night if you come.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Yeah.
I think I'm hoping, again, this message I've got after Friday night was people enjoyed watching us play.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that people got a little taste of that and like, I kind of want to go see what chapter 2 looks like in that storybook, and I hope people make the trip down and come watch us play in person and create an environment for our own players. One thing that's funny about both these guys and just the full circle you and I have talked about several times is I've been an assistant when his brother played and his brother played. I haven't called him Logan, but I have called him Lane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've thrown out some different names along the way. Asher Drake, I always call him Dawson. These brothers, it's a neat, but it's like I messed up stance, so I call him Hayden all the time. Yeah. So it's kind of a full circle thing, but they don't give me much slack. Because, I mean, they're the younger brothers. Younger brothers don't be called their older brother's name, and so I apologize to them multiple times, but it's been a neat storyline to kind of know their families prior. So
it is a short drive down to Kimberly, the Morris area, for Mortimer Jordan tomorrow night, so if you can make the trip down there. Great stadium, great setup there, plenty of room for us to pack the visiting stands over there at Mortimer Jordan and cheer on our Bearcats tomorrow night as they take on the Blue Devils. If you can't make it for whatever reason, like I said, you can listen to the game right here on 95.5 FM. If you do not have our Coleman's Live 95.5's app, go to your favorite app store and download our app. There are 4 channels there on the app. That's where you can hear the game. If you're not in Coleman, maybe you're at Mortimer Jordan and you want to listen to the game live while you're there, or you're traveling to the beach or to the mountains or wherever, you can listen to the game anywhere in the world on the Coleman's Live 95.5